Hi, I'm Tom, and I've been building enterprise applications across multiple domains for over 8 years. Today, I want to share some of the knowledge that I have learned throughout my time as a developer. In this series, we will be covering multiple topics around event sourcing, focusing on Node and Typescript applications. I will be breaking down event sourcing in manageable chunks so we can focus on each part of the event sourcing process. So with that said, let's begin. Welcome to the first episode on event sourcing in TypeScript and NodeJs. If you'd like a brief introduction to what this series is about, please go back and watch the introduction video in the playlist. Today we'll be talking about how we turn events from a database into a stateful object. This is a key part in event sourcing, so I hope by the time we're finished you will feel much more confident in how this is done. We will be using the eSourcey package to achieve this, as it will lay out the code blocks for us so we can skip some basic setup. So with that said, let's get into it. So what do we mean when we want to turn our event into an application state? So if we look at the previous diagram, we have the actor who raises an action. This is built into an event, added to an event queue, then stored. This is our source of truth. Then that source of truth is then accumulated, so the events are accumulated to create the application state. So pulling this out, what we have is an event queue with store. It's accumulated, turns to application state, and then that is the data that the actor or the user wants to either query, receive, or perform some actions on. So this is what we're going to focus on today. So let's jump into the code. So this project will be available in the description, and all it is a basic TypeScript setup. If we look inside the folder structure, all we have is an app.js, which is empty, a database file, which we're going to use as our database, an events folder, which is empty. Look inside the package JSON, the dependencies are absolutely empty. So the first thing we need to do is npm install save eSourcey. This is the package we're going to use to build our event source system. We're only going to be using part of it so we can get an idea of how projections work and accumulators. And we're going to use the database to store our events locally. This will just save us from trying to build our events from MongoDB, for example. We can just have them locally for now, but the concept's exactly the same. Brilliant. Okay, so now we've installed eSourcey. First thing we want to do is we want to make our event. So in this case, what we're going to build is an add product to cart event. Now once we're in the add product to cart file, what we're going to do is we're going to basically create our event. So we're going to create the class add product to cart, export this, and this is going to implement event. So do that. We're going to get this event from the eSourcey package. So import from eSourcey the event. Brilliant. So let's implement that interface. And what we see here is we have the basic of an event. We have the event name, the timestamp, and the version. So let's pull that down like this. And let's set the event name to add product to cart. And then we're going to change this version to 1. This is our first version of this event. Now with the timestamp, what we're going to do in our case is we're going to go into the constructor and we're going to set this timestamp to when this is created. Now in certain cases you may want to actually pass in the timestamp so that you control when this event is quote quote created, but in our case we're just going to set it when it's first created. Brilliant. So what we have here is we have a basic setup for our event. But what we're going to need to add a product to a cart is we're going to need some more information. So let's add that. The first thing we're going to need is we're going to need the SKU, which is the product SKU, stock keeping unit. That's going to be type string, and we're going to need the quantity. So how many of these products are we adding to a cart? Set that to a number. Brilliant. So just as simple as that, where we've been able to make our add product to cart event. This is now exported and we can use it. So for the sake of ease, as you see I've already done this, I'll get rid of this. For the sake of ease, what we're going to do is we're going to just import them directly into the database. So this is now an add product to cart array. And we're going to make the new add product to cart. We're going to give it the SKU of trainers black UK 9, and the quantity we're just going to do 1. The next one we're going to add 2, and in this case we're going to do trainers black UK size 10, and we're going to add 2 more of them. Let's add these commas quickly, and just like that we now have a database with add product to cart events, 3 of them with different values. So we have 2 with the same SKU but different quantities, and 1 with its own SKU and quantity. Brilliant. So now we have our database set up with our add product to cart events. So how do we project these to create a state? So first, let's create our state. So first we're going to create an interface cart state extends I state, which is pulling from eSource again. And if we look inside of the I state, all we see is that it provides an index, which is a number. This will give us our number on how many projections we're on. So if it takes 9 events to get to our state, our index is 9. Perfect. Okay, so now let's make our products. So this is going to be our products object, and this is where we're going to store all of our products. We're going to have the SKU as the key, and then we're also going to have a number being the quantity. Let's just add a comment there, quantity. Perfect. So at that point we now have our state object, and it's very simple. We have an index at the root level and the products, which is a JSON object of SKU as the string and the number of the quantity. Perfect. So how do we get from our events into our cart state? So first thing, let's import our database. Let's see, database. Perfect. So we want to turn all of this into our state. So things you could do, you could do db.forEach, you can just do a simple for loop, event, and then you could try build it manually from here. But that's quite complicated, because what we would have to do is write business logic inside of this for each, and we don't really want to contain it inside of how we're looping through events. We really want to contain it in itself. So instead of doing that, we'll save that for later down here, and we're going to build a projector. And a projector is basic responsibility is to turn an event into the state. So we will add an event onto our state to update its state. So let's do that. So let's make a class, add product to cart projector, implements I projector. Brilliant. So what we see from an I projector is it takes an event, which is then to I event, and a state. So let's pass in our add product to cart as our event and our cart state, like so. And then we can implement our interface, and it gives us a very simple function of project. And what this does is it takes the current state and the event and returns the next state. So for example, if the current state is this, we want to return the next state. What we can do in our case is simply return index. Let's put the index, and that is always going to be current state dot index plus 1. Every time we project, we want to increment our index by 1. Now we have our index sorted. Let's sort out what our products are inside of our cart. So we have our products object, and we know that the SKU is a string and the quantity is the number. So the first thing we probably want to do is we actually want to deconstruct the current state inside of our products. So we have the previous products inside of it, so that's being up to date. And then we want to take our events SKU, and we want to say if our current state dot products event dot skew, if that exists, then we'll take that quantity or 0 plus 1. Let's put these in brackets, and there we go. So what we've done there is we're saying our products, we want that to still stay up to date with our previous products, and then we want to make sure that the event skew, so the product that's added to the cart, is up to date with the products which are previously there, or 0, plus event.quantity. We want to add the event quantity onto that, so we're updating the amount that exists inside of the event. Perfect. So what we have now is we have our projector, we have our state, and we have our database. So let's tie all these things together to see how we can create our values from this. So first thing we want to do is we want to create our initial state. So let's make a state, which is a type of cart state. And we're going to have that equal to an index of 0, because it's an empty state, and no products inside of it. So there we have our first initial state, which is empty. And so now we have everything that we need to build our state from our events. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make our projector. So add product to cart projector, be a bit lazy. Add a product to cart projector equals new add product to cart projector. Brilliant. And all we're going to do now is we're going to loop through our events and build our state up as we get the events passed through to our projector. So let's do a for loop. So for const event of the database, so each event in the database, iterating through them, let's add product cart projector dot project. This takes our state and our event. So our first state is the initial state, and then it's the event. So let's just pass that through. And as we know, the add product to cart project will return our next state. So all we need to do is say state equals, and it is asynchronous, so let's pass that into a function. Build state. Let's do this very quickly. There we go. So it's going to build our state from there and project it onto our state. So we want to see what that looks like. So let's actually have a look. So I'm going to call this quickly. So we do have that. So it will log something. And all we're going to do is we're going to console log the event and the state. So we can see what it looks like previously. And it goes into the next state. So console.log state. Perfect. Okay, so now we have some console logs around it and we can see what's going on the inside. Let's run the application. Perfect. So let's see what we see here then. So the first thing that we see is we see our event, which is our add product to cart with the skew of UK Black 9 quantity 1, and we see our initial state of index 0, products empty. And after we run this, our projector through this, we see our state's been updated with an index of 1 because our events ran through it, and our products now have the skew, which is the key of UK Black 9, with a quantity of 1. And then it goes into the next iteration. So the event UK Black 9 quantity 2, add product to cart, and we see that before that it's UK1, and then the state after we run our projector, and that's been now updated to 3. Then we do it again, and so on and so forth, and we end up with this initial state of index 3, 3 events have run through. The products of UK Black 9, we now have 3 of them, and the UK Black 10 is now 2. Once again, if you have made it all the way to the end of this episode, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you feel more confident in how to turn events into state. The source code will be in GitHub, links will be in the description, so please pull the project down and have a go yourself. If you'd like to stay up to date with this event sourcing in Typescript NodeJs series, please like, comment and subscribe so you stay up to date when the videos are uploaded. Without further ado, I hope you have a wonderful day and catch you in the next episode. where we'll discuss how to turn user actions into events.